Philosophy of Being a C-Word by Penelopes Eggplant. Number 1. Hi, my name is Cunt. It is a lovely day outside, isn't it? Ever wondered why your life is the way that it is? It is because you are a cunt. Being cause rather than effect, it could go back to the nature versus nurture dispute, but for the purpose of this study, being a cunt is of nature, while nurture assists you in revealing your inner cuntness. It is why there are those who last better and stronger in different massive, mild, happy, sad circumstances, but you are a cunt. Just a thought. Cunts should carry official badges like the FBI. And shout out, don't worry people, I am a cunt. But apologies, I have published several academic works before and I should know better. I forgot to explain. Cunt. I'd imagine in one of my academic works, I'd footnote and copy and paste the definition from the dictionary, which happens to say, usually obscene, the female genital organs, also sexual intercourse with a woman, Merriam-Webster. And for the feminists, I yield my cunt badge. Number 2. I just had an image of preserving my big brother in the fridge after slitting his throat. I often get these horrid contemplations of tragedies either my doing, to my family, friends, or surroundings doings. The reasons are silly, which is the characteristic of being a cunt. Reasons are usually me wanting to escape an exam, deadline, justification for my ill-groomed appearances, weight gain, heavy smoking, attention and pity, that is. I think of tragedies striking my family for attention and pity. Number 3. The charity bag. A while back, for a short while, I'd buy some biscuit packs and keep them in my bag. Give one to each aged or crippled beggar I'd pass on the street. Now the question is, why? To look noble, generous, kind, pretty even. I am more than certain of this than any other reason, which is the characteristic of being a cunt. I was more proud of myself when I heard my friends tell me, "Oh, how kind you are," than when I hear a beggar say thank you. Yet, to come to think of it, the beggar who took the biscuits was supposedly hungry and would be temporarily full with the biscuits. So even in my selfish reason of charity, a hungry person was fed. But it still doesn't make me less of a cunt. Anyway, I stopped the charity bag idea when it became too much of a hassle, which is the characteristic of being a cunt. Number 4. Prude for the wrong reasons. A week ago, I was a little over tipsy and I asked my male friend to grab my boob. He said no. And I'm not sure if it's because he was a gentleman or because the thought of it revolted him, and I leaned toward the later. Accordingly, if I were in my conscious state of mind, I wouldn't have asked him. I would have remained prude, which is the characteristic of being a cunt. Number 5. Confessions of a cunt. I deliberately lost a friend. We go way back. Not that much of a strong friendship, but he liked me and cared about me. He lives abroad and comes to Egypt for visits, and we usually hung out, but the last time he visited, I blew him off. He called me, I gave him excuses, I had an exam at the time. I told him, "I don't want to see you," then I laughed and lied about meaning it. He called me, but answering him would mean I would have to confront him with my cuntness. And it would mean telling him I have been feeling bad, telling him I don't have money, telling him, "Oh, there, you care about me and you're a really, really nice and handsome guy, someone I consider a good friend. I just don't want to go through the effort of dressing up, borrowing money, doing my eyebrows and mustache, fake a smile through the hangout, and chat about what's going on in my life, which is all cunt, listen to you not being a cunt, listen to you telling me how I should not be a cunt, listen to you telling me I am a cunt, tell you I overslept and missed one of my finals, which just gives me the cunt badge, and tell you I've been eating popcorn for dinner because I am so broke." And so I just let him go, which is the characteristic of being a cunt. Number 6. I probably would have been less a cunt had I played a musical instrument. That is all. Number 7. I am spiritual, not religious, I always say. No, I just mentally masturbate myself to face the simple fact that I am lazy. Exhibit A. Well, as long as you're not hurting anyone. I believe in God, and I believe God watches my every move. The public ones, the private ones, the very nude, no one should or will ever see ones. And I am so much of a believer that I try so hard to distract myself from being observed constantly. I do awful things well aware that I'm being watched and judged, but I drown the shame, drown the embarrassment, which is the characteristic of being a cunt. Here I am, confronting myself with the rude and naked before God truth. Yet again, this is a mental masturbation. Exhibit B. At least you're being honest. But really, I was just too lazy to fast the months of Ramadan, and I just couldn't imagine a coffee-free morning, which is the characteristic of being a cunt. Number 8. Once when I was 17 years old, I went for an errand. My belly was enormous and not in sync with the rest of me, and I decided to put a hand on my back, a hand on my belly, adjusted my feet to move outwards, and arched my back backwards, even made a few ouch while walking up the stairs. And I don't know which was more embarrassing, really, the obviously fake pregnant walk or the fact that I resorted to it, which is the characteristic of being a cunt. Yeah. Number 9. Pop cunt quiz. Respond by true or false. Mid-conversation, you remain silent while a much smarter person is speaking and taking over. Then as soon as that smart person mentions information that you happen to know, you interrupt that person, raise your voice loudly enough to overpower his or hers, and you talk about the information. 10. Envy. I used to think Angelina Jolie was unattractive, till I finally admitted to myself that I was blinded by jealousy, which is the characteristic of being a cunt. I look at girls' silky legs, firm shoulders, striking collarbones, rational hair, and I am angry at her. I truly despise her. I secretly inspect her flaws, and I become victorious when I see an imperfection. I gloriously gloat. I smirk and I snicker in utter joy in how she has become the subject of ugly. And every phrase of flattery toward her becomes an act of redemption, a diversion from the superficial, green-eyed, slothing little cunt that I am. Number 11. I am starting to sing cunt, and that is pretty self-explanatory. Number 12. I'd rob a bank if I could. In part 1, I wrote a line a good friend once said to me, but I used it as my own. She uttered it so perfectly I couldn't help but becoming bitter, greedily yearning for her level of articulation and wit. I am being proved for the wrong reasons, she said, and I stole it, which is the characteristic of being a cunt.